So, Graham, I know that you're going to walk us through a sort of a use case. This isn't the client case study, but just more about this. We're going to focus in on automation, how and how they experienced it. Like it's as we said earlier, 75.2% sounds wonderful, but talk to us. How did that happen for one client?
Yeah, this was actually a really interesting one. It isn't specifically focused on collections, but it'll give you an idea of what you can do. We do have a collections one after this as well. But I just find this one is hugely interesting. So generally when people start out, it's about, well, let's just learn, let's just listen, let's see what we can do. But week one was really simple. There was some really basic. I don't know if you press the key on there, Mark, it'll bring them up as well. You'll break them down, but you'll see. Oops, we'll go to number 2 there as well. Just on number one, fine. Doesn't matter. That's fine. Yep. It's okay. But you'll see the sort of movement of how this goes across the period of time and how quickly, as Mark said, this grows to an automated process. So let me give you a bit of background on the company. The company's insurance business. They're a vehicle insurance company, and they do a lot of specialist work for people who've modified their cars, changed their cars, and that sort of thing. And it started off by saying, okay, well, we want to reach out to customers and give them the ability to talk to us, to renew, and also to make claims and whatever else. So there's quite a wide sort of coverage to start with. So we said the first thing we need to do then is to be able to shorten the amount of time an agent's on the call. So the first 2 things were, number 1, basic triage. What does that mean? That's using this intent piece that we sort of covered off there, Mark opened up on. So that's understanding what people are saying. When they communicate with you as a business, are they going to want to speak to someone regarding making a claim? Are they going to want to speak to someone regarding a renewal letter they've just received or a message they've just got back from you, etc., etc.? So understanding what the person is saying is key. And all we did was say, okay, what are your top 10 sort of routes that you would take? What are people saying? Oh, yeah, we have renewals. Yes, we have cancellations. Yes, we have claims. Yes, we have blah, blah, blah. So we trained the system all within a few hours to understand main phrases that would come into that. And from those main phrases, it understands thousands of others. It learns from that using the AI. And just a simple triaging to an agent by going to the right person rather than the wrong person or someone to do that. And what we call smart phrases as well. And this is where we learned very quickly that a lot of what you say and what you send out to a customer is repetitive. There's going to be a marketing or a compliant way of doing it. Well, why would an agent want to type that every time? We have what we call smart phrases where they can start to type it. It will know the rest of the sentence or give them the options that are available to them. Some companies do that with numbers. I know it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Press 5 brings the right one up. Others start to type. Again, it doesn't really matter. But just by taking away that typing time and triaging to the right person, instantly there was a 12% sort of gain in agent time. And that's what this automation is. It's a gain in agent time as well. Straight over month 1, yes, they were already doing this triage piece, but it was also saying, okay, do I have some automation I can do now as well? Well, yes, I do. So the first thing they learned was actually most people needed identification and verification. Most people needed to complete data to be able to get that information into the system. This is where it came down to the quotations. So people would come back and say, yeah, I'm interested, but I've modified this, I've changed this, I've got upgraded brakes or whatever. And they would then quote on that. What was happening was they would ask the questions, either first off on the phone, and then they would do it message to message to message, which is quite painful, if I'm honest with you, over digital. And we said, well, we can do that over a form, a lovely form. Here's all the questions they need to know. The agent can send that out and it will capture that information. Agent goes off, does other stuff while that's being completed, or if the customer comes back at any point and asks a question, it will pop up back on their screen, or that form comes back completed. And just that alone was 40.7% automation. The third month was saying, okay, well, what's the next win that you can do? So we're triaging to the right person. We're automating certain parts of that process. The next thing was, well, when that data came in, the agent was typing that into their quotation system. So very simply, by saying, actually, you've got the data, why is someone doing that manually? Well, that saved a lot of time. That would be automated through an API into their quotation system, and the quotation system would pump it back out to the conversation and say, hey, Mark, thanks very much for that information. Based on what you've given us, your premium this year will be £374. Are you happy to go ahead or not? And it would wait, and then if they'd come back with a yes, great, it would take them to the completion process. If they said no, it would trigger it to an agent at that point, and an agent would say, sorry to hear that. Do you have any other quotes? And all that conversation would then happen. So, 81.5% automation is huge, really. That saved them hours and hours. I mean, that actually is a quote from one of the people at the actual the company themselves. Unfortunately, I'm under an NDA with them, so I can't mention their name. But 100 man hours a week instantly. And they're not a huge company. They're a specialist insurance business. And actually, one that was quite surprising, we thought conversions would be the same. That was one to watch, obviously, to make sure it didn't go down. But actually, by being able to do it themselves and getting auto responses and making it smooth and easy, nobody else was doing that on the market. They got an 8% increase in their conversions as well. So fantastic, let alone saving 100 man hours a week and automating 81% of what they were doing. Their conversions went up as well. So it's a great use case.